Do you love planning a great event where everyone can congregate and have a great time? Do you value the authentic human connection which is generated by throwing a great party? And do you want to be known as that party guest where everyone can't stop talking about your latest and greatest endeavor? And I bet you didn't know that according to Forbes, that virtual events were up 1,000% because of COVID last year. If anything I just said resonates with you in any meaningful way, then Shay Wheat is someone you ought to put in your Rolodex of contacts. She's a certified event producer and the founder of Grace and Ease Productions. The mission and mandate of the company is to help their clients create powerful and profitable events which are truly memorable. Wheat works with high-profile celebrity clients and everyday people, and she has one mission in mind. When she throws an event, she wants everyone to leave with a smile. She took some time out of her busy event planning schedule to join me this week to talk about what goes into creating an authentically memorable event. So let's end the week on a good note and learn how to plan a great party. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Before we get into that weekend, I want to thank you for doing this for me today. It's most appreciated.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be with you.
Absolutely. So, Shay, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program. And I'm super excited to learn all about your life and professional story. Great to be with you this afternoon, and thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, Shay, I'm fascinated to ask you about when you look at your life in a 360-degree view, and if someone gave you a commercial to explain your life in 60 seconds, what would you tell them?
My life overall in 60 seconds. Being a certified event producer, producing events all over the world, I get to hang out with really cool people doing really fun, amazing things out in the world, creating a wave of change. And then at home, I get to live right next to wine country in beautiful California with my fiance and my fur babies.
Absolutely. Now, as a certified event planner, Jay, I'm curious to know, in your view, what are the 3 factors that make a great event?
Is it experiential? Do you have an event promise? And is there an opportunity for people to continue working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And now, in your company, Grace and Ease Productions, as you mentioned, you support your clients by creating powerful and profitable events. So I'm wondering if we could dive a little bit deeper into your day job and what makes it so fabulously spectacular.
I would love to do that. Yes. What questions do you have for me?
In terms of the people that you work with, the types of events you run, and that sort of a thing, what makes your event company uniquely special?
Yep. So we work with speakers, coaches, expert thought leaders who are looking to scale and leverage their company utilizing the power of events. So what we tend to specialize in is what's called sales and enrollment events. So there's actually 5 different phases of events, and based on where you're at in business, you're going to do certain types of events. Okay. So in that process, you're going to be utilizing events to either grow your influence, increase your leads, or actually sell into your programs and your packages. Let's say, for instance, you've got a 6-month program or a year-long program, and you're looking to leverage your time and energy to go from one-on-one conversations and sales opportunities to one-to-many. And that's what we really specialize in.
Absolutely. Now, when we talk about event planning, what do you think is the secret sauce to effective event planning?
Giving yourself enough time to plan. And what I mean by that is when we're planning an event for one of our clients, and let's say they're looking to have 50 people in a room, or they're looking for 1,000 people in the room, there are certain things that need to be done, a certain event fundamentals that you have to cover leading into your event in order for it to be successful. You need to have an event promise. You need to look at budgets. You need to know what it is that you're offering. You need to know what it is that the audience is going to be gaining out of it. And when we do our 3-day sales and enrollment events, we like to have a good 3 months of planning time leading into the event. That only not only allows us to really dive into deep of like, what is the vision and what are they gaining out of it, but also gives you time to connect with your audience and let them know you're even hosting an event in the first place.
Absolutely. Now, when we look at the advancement of social media, certainly, I'm sure as an event planner, you use it as an effective tool to plan events. But tell me, based on your personal and professional experience, how can social media be effective in terms of giving you tools to promote events, and how can it be improved in your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. So social media, absolutely, we utilize in the growing of your business. So if we were to look at the different phases, when you're starting out in business, you're going to be utilizing free platforms like your LinkedIn, like your Facebook, like your Instagram, and doing all of those ways to bring your audience in, right? You're looking to find all of the people, where are they hanging out in the world, and kind of group them together so you can have a platform to talk to them. It's a great way to utilize social media, as well as on the back end, utilizing what we call a CRM, but that's where you're collecting all of your email addresses. So should social media go away, because I don't know if your audience remembers like MySpace back in the day.
I certainly remember MySpace. I was in high school when that was popular, but I remember it, yeah.
Right? Yeah. You would hate to have like all of your following on social media and not have a way for you to stay in touch with them should that social media go away. So pros and cons of it is, yes, great platform to reach out to people to find them. Once you find them, then you want to bring them kind of into your house and into your space. And that's by collecting email addresses. So it's like kind of a back and forth give and take. You can absolutely connect with them, but then you want to make sure that they stay with you should that go someplace else.
Absolutely, Shay. And for me, I'm going to share just a little bit about myself. So I was actually born with cerebral palsy, and the type of cerebral palsy I have restricts the amount of oxygen that I have in my legs. It's called spastic quadriplegia cerebral palsy. So I use a wheelchair and a walker to get around. So as an event planner, I'm fascinated to ask you, how do you think we can make events more accessible for folks with disabilities?
Yes. I mean, especially since we're virtual, heavy virtual the past few years, right? And if you're somebody that has maybe an auditory that's decreased, or you're not as easy to hear or see or experience, we want to make sure that we have opportunities that we can add transcription to it so you can read what's happening and what the speaker is talking in real time, and have that closed captioning option, which we might not have had as much in the live event space. Also, there's opportunities where a lot of my clients utilize what's known as a coaching zone. And in the coaching zone, they're given opportunities to have one-on-one conversations with the coaches for like a 15-minute appointment going, Kevin, why are you here? What's going on? What are you hoping to get out of this event? And then they can point you in the direction of like, fantastic, our event host is actually going to talk about that on day 2, make sure that you show up for the afternoon session. So it's that extra personalized attention that we can do with our virtual live events that we wouldn't necessarily always have that opportunity in a big, huge room of people live, which I think is really exciting.
Yeah, I do. That is my next question. In fact, you inspired me to ask it with your last answer. As an event planner, I'm wondering your thoughts on what we learned during COVID about event planning and the benefits of virtual versus in-person events.
Yeah. So what we're seeing is that virtual will never, ever go away, right? There's actually been a number of studies that have come out where the stats are, they've surveyed over 1,200 people. And as an attendee, 75% said that they will attend virtual events after in-person comes back. And 84% of attendees would always like to have some type of virtual option, right? It's just now become kind of ingrained into our society, the power of virtual events. On the flip side, for an event host, somebody that's actually hosting the event and putting it on, there's huge benefits for them. They don't have to, one, find a venue. And when you find a venue, you tend to have it at a hotel. When you're at a hotel, you have a room block, you've got food and beverage, you've got meeting room space. So that alone just really saves you a lot of money on your budget. And then also in the creation of virtual studios, which we've also started to do over the past 2 years, is you can create an experience and be able to see all of the attendees in front of you. So you could literally go, I see that you're nodding your head, Susan. Okay, great. Let's pull Susan up real quick and let's see what her question is or what her aha moment is. So it allows the virtual audience to have a front row seat like they've never had before.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shay, I want to talk a little bit about relationships because I know in the work that you do, it's critical. And, one of the mottos or philosophies that I live my life by is that life is a constant game of networking. So tell me about building positive relationships in the work you do and how important it is.
Yeah. It's actually kind of how I got started. If I were to go and pinpoint that, I was building rapport and relationship with people that I didn't realize I would then have an opportunity to have that turn into business down the road. So how this happened was I was actually speaking at an event, New Year, New You, and I was messing with the guy in front of me that had my microphone, and I'm like, hey, dude, don't go spitting on my mic, okay? And he was like, you're funny. Who are you? Right? And come to find out, he was the head of education for Dr. Oz's nonprofit. And I'm like, oh, wow. I met his sister Saval at the women's conference that I was supporting. And he went, wait, hold on. She's best friends with our CEO and we're doing a women's conference. You should help us. And so I went, okay, yeah, let's do it. And so that was my introduction to being an associate producer. I was in charge of over 70 speakers and over 100 volunteers. So that relationship I had built, not even knowing it, because I didn't know who Saval was. She was just a woman that actually had a cast on her foot, and I was helping her get to her seat, and then come to find out who she was down the road, and all of these things come back to you tenfold when you just give somebody a little extra love and appreciation.
Absolutely. You know, Shay, I'm tempted to sing It's a Small World After All, right?
Come on, you start us out.
I don't think you want that. But, as you mentioned, you work with some high-profile celebrity clients in the work that you do. So talk to me about the importance of managing their expectations and working with celebrities with a positive relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have had the honor and privilege of working with a number of celebrities and high-end speakers. And really what it comes down to is they're an expert in their field. And they're coming to me as being the expert in my field to really support them in achieving the outcome that they're looking to achieve. So what we end up doing is we end up having our first conversation is like, what is the vision? What is the goal? What is the intention? What do you want out of this? Whether people do business with you or not, what is that promise of the event? And we want to make it highly experiential in the entire event itself. And so when I'm working with celebrities or I'm working with somebody that's brand new to the space, it's always the same. You know, they put their pants on the same way we do, right? But what I get to the core of is really super important is how are we serving the audience? And that's really what they appreciate most is I'm not in it to know the celebrity. I'm in it to make a difference for their audience. And I think that's why they come to us at Grace and Ease is knowing that we have their best interest in mind for them and their audience. And that's why they want to work with us.
Yeah, and to that point, you've talked a lot about experiential experiences when creating events. So what do you think goes into creating a great event experience, and how can you interconnect that to making as much revenue as possible?
Yes, so they're definitely tied together. So when we are supporting our 3-day sales and enrollment events, there is an arc to the event. It's like a movie, okay? When you're watching a movie, you have an experience, whether it's going to be emotional or you're laughing or you're crying, you're like sucked into what's happening. And in an event, we want that same type of experience with a little bit of a twist. So the twist being that it's not watching the movie and then they walk away. It's like your audience is the person in the movie because we're dealing with their life, their finances, their relationships, their health, their fitness. That's why they're coming to the event, is to work on some type of problem in their life. And so in this process, we want to make sure that we are including movement, that we're including, especially on a virtual event, we want to have multiple camera angles. We want to bring in experiential, I'm reaching for one of my emoji sticks, right? So that when you have a bank of TVs in front of you and you see everybody on the screen as the event host, you can see when people are glad. You can see when they're like, what the duck? I don't understand, right? You can engage with the audience in real time. And then you also want to make sure that you have multiple opportunities for like different locations. So case in point, we had a studio that we had set up in a client's office. We had a camera straight on. We had a camera to the side. And she had a few people in her audience with her. So we could have them, shaking their little clappers and everything else. And then when we went to a break, we included video. So video, multimedia, that's all keeping people engaged. Just like a TV show, you have to keep the eyes moving.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure, I'm curious to ask you, when you look at your job, what do you think is the best part of your job? And tell me about, making authentic human connections, because I believe that people thrive on making a face-to-face authentic human connections. So tell me about the best part of your job and the importance of making authentic connections.
Yeah. I think probably the best part of my job is the authentic community connections. Right?
That's why I tie those questions together.
I do see. And can I just tell you, your questions are amazing. They're really so spot on. I just wanted to give you your kudos because they're really, really good. But I would say, yeah, the human connection, so huge right now with mental health and everything that's happening in being in quarantines and such for the last few years. People have had a lot of stuff happening, right? And events really allow us to create community. There was a thing that I saw on the almighty Google the other day where the top 10 searches, within the top 10 searches, I think of last year, 3 of them were about happiness. How do we be happy alone? How do I be happy with myself? And when you host an event, you are bringing together community. And when you have community, the power of community, that's what helps support that human connection. Because you're getting together a group of like-minded individuals that all come together going, this is something I'm working on. This is something I need support with. This is something that nobody else understands, but this group gets me. I'm not alone. And I think that's the power of events that I absolutely love. Now, granted, don't get me wrong, my clients love that piece too, but it's also nice to be able to travel to the Bahamas, travel to Canada, travel to, within the United States. And a lot of my clients also make it a nice payday. So it's like a win-win-win all over the place.
Absolutely. Well, I have to tell you, the next time you're in Canada, you have to look me up. We have to go
I totally do. Yes, that would be fun.
Absolutely. And I'm curious to also ask you about podcasting, how that's really helped accentuate the promotion of events, and how you use it as a promotional tool for events.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I was saying earlier, there's 5 phases of business growth for event leverage, right? And once you move into phase 2, that's the visibility phase. And that's where you're going to either be a guest on other people's stages. And that's where podcasts come in. So I don't know if you realize this, Kevin, but you actually host events all the time. A podcast is an event. So congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm on Zoom calls every week doing this. So yeah,
you're hosting events all the time. So yeah, with that, you can be on other people's stages. When you move to phase 3, that's when you're going to want to start creating your own stages. So a podcast, a seminar, a masterclass, summits, things along those lines. And podcasts are a great way to leverage what it is that you're doing. You're getting the word out about your products, your services, the opportunities for growth, the opportunities to just increase your brand and your market share, essentially.
And oftentimes it doesn't cost you a whole bunch of money either, right?
Right, yeah. It costs you time, which is also extremely valuable.
Time is money, absolutely. My final question for you today has to do with your own individual and personal legacy and how you may want that to be defined both personally and professionally.
I think my legacy is really locking arms with people to create a wave of change. It's a vision that I had and a dream years ago. And part of that is also having a mindset of it's all figure outable. So I want to be known as somebody that did things with grace and ease, figured it out, and locked arms with us to make a difference.
Hence the name of your company, right?
That's the name of the company, Grace and Ease.
That's exactly right. So if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So if they're interested in learning about the phases of event leverage, all they have to do is go to 5phases.info, and that's spelling out the word five, F-I-V-E, 5phases.info/conversation. Or they can find me on all social media by either looking up graceandeaseproductions.com, or I'm on all the different social media with Grace and Ease Productions as well.
Fantastic. Well, Shay, I have to tell you, I've done a lot of podcasting this week, and I couldn't think of a better way to end my podcasting week than having this fun and engaging conversation with you all about certified event planning. So I really want to thank you for taking part of your week to engage in conversation with me. I want to wish you a great holiday weekend, and I want to thank you for your time this afternoon. It's most appreciated.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It's been a pleasure.